I call this meeting in the Red Oak Independent School District to order at 7 p.m. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. All board members are present at this time. Mr. Knight, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Father, we just come before you and say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here, Father, to be a part of this community, Father, to be able to just come before you and say that, ask you for wisdom, ask you for knowledge, Father, as we go through, and Father, for this school, for everyone involved in this school, our community, Father, our teachers, our administrators, or all our staff, and our children. They're our greatest asset here. And Father, we just ask that you be with them and watch over them and guide them. We do thank you for everything you do for us and allowing us to do what we do here, Father. We thank you so much. In Jesus, amen.
I will say that David Johnson, Pastor Johnson, was scheduled to be here tonight. He got called and had some emergency to go to. Don't know what that is. But let's keep him in your prayers too. Donna Knight, this night, would you introduce the pledge leader, please?
Our November pledge leader is Journey Gant. Going to come on up here, Journey Gant. Journey is 10 years old. Her parents are Kalia and James Bowers McCoy. She has 4 brothers, bless you, and sisters, and their names are India, Samaj, Sia, and Amani. Did I say that right, or did I mess it? Saya, sorry. Journey's in the 5th grade at Shutman Elementary, and her homeroom teacher is Miss Fazarani. Her favorite subject is math. Journey enjoys making bracelets and wants to start her own bracelet business someday. Well, we'll have to look at those and see what we want to buy. Her favorite book is Smile by Raina Talmor. Her favorite pet is her dog Cookie. When Journey grows up, she also wants to be a nurse, and the person she most admires is her sister Kalia, who pushes her to be her best every day. Something she likes about herself is that she's very creative. Journey was chosen to be the pledge leader because she's a model student. Her teacher, Miss Fazarani, feels that Journey is a leader in and out of the classroom. She's already overcome many obstacles in her life, and she keeps a positive attitude and always tries her best. She shows grit in tough situations and is respectful of others. She's a blessing to her classmates, teachers, and school, and I'll say Red Oak ISD. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Awesome. Good job.
All right, next, we're going to move into our superintendent's report.
Yes, we're going to start with Angela Fitzgerald, Director of Counseling and Family Services, and Melody Hawkins, Student Support Specialist. They're going to be giving you a presentation on Red Oak ISD Preventative Behavior Framework.
Good evening.
Howdy.
Melody and I make up the Counseling and Family Services Department here at Red Oak ISD. And so since this department is fairly new, we wanted to go over some of the things that come through our department. And then we also wanted to go over the preventative behavior framework initiative that Red Oak has begun this year. So some of the things that comes through our office, obviously we have the counselors, so we do all the counselor trainings, PDs, meetings. We provide support and assistance to the counselors. They call daily. I mean, we have daily calls just for, we were both campus counselors at one point, so just for support and guidance. We oversee their budget, and then with all of the legislative changes that we get from TEA or protocols that are needed for the counselors, we're in charge of writing those if we don't have them, putting them together, and training the counselors. And so that one says suicide protocol oversight. That was one that we wrote last year and trained the counselors on, just so that we're all consistent and in line. We're currently supervising 2 school counselors who want to receive their LPC, their licensed professional counselor. And then we're supervising 2 that are teachers that would like to become school counselors. We serve as mental health consult for administration, staff, and students. We serve as the McKinney, Vento, and Foster liaison for the district and the community liaison, which includes being a district representative for Ellis County Red Oak Unite. We lead the district threat assessment team. There's been new legislation this year with documentation and transfer of documents for threat assessments and discipline. So we maintain all of the threat assessment and documentation. We lead the meetings, and then we make sure that we have protocols in place for the transfer of that information when it's needed. We monitor Stop It, which, as you guys know, is the anonymous reporting system. We support district staff and families for various needs. We organize the North Texas Food Bank, which is our mobile food pantry that's district-wide once a month. And also Food for Kids, which is also done through North Texas Food Bank, and that serves pre-K through 6th graders who can take a backpack home on Fridays with shelf-stable food for them and their siblings. We have brought in some new counseling initiatives and referral systems, such as Care Portal, T-Chat, and Care Solace that we have oversight of. And then in the unfortunate circumstance of a crisis, we lead up the crisis reunification team. And so the initiative that I spoke of earlier that's gone out to Red Oak ISD this year is the Preventative Behavior Framework. This came out of, there was a discipline committee that met last year, and then along with data from exit interviews and the employee action committee, the number one concern was student behavior. And so we all know that student behavior impacts all of these things listed and much more. It impacts learning, attendance, interventions, discipline programs, culture, and teacher retention. And so we believe it's very important to get on the front side of behavior, and that it makes a huge difference if we can put out some preventative framework to prevent instead of always being behind it and following it up with just interventions. We also know that it's very important to teach behavior and teach expectations, just like we teach academics, and sometimes that part is forgotten. That not everyone comes in with the same skills and the same level of knowledge of expectations. So it's very important that we teach the behaviors and the expectations that we are expecting. So that all led to a district decision to build the preventative behavior framework. It also provides, we wanted to provide consistency across all schools and grades. We've always had counselors in place who have taught guidance curriculums and taught different programs. We really wanted to provide consistency, so the same topics are being taught at the same time to everybody, and all the way through. So if kiddos do switch schools, transfer schools, they're not going to be learning something the other school learned a month ago. So we thought consistency was very important. We also thought if there's a kindergartner and an 8th grader, they're going to be learning the same topic at a developmentally appropriate, obviously, way. But just so our whole district is focused on the same thing, the whole framework is built around the 4 talents of 1% better, grit, reach, and service. And then also around our theme of think, what would a hawk do? This is all supplemental and in addition to everything that our campuses are already doing. We know that they all work very hard and they have house systems in place and capturing kids' hearts, and they're all doing amazing things. We just wanted to bring it all together with something that was consistent. So this is in addition to that. Part of the behavior framework includes piloting classroom positive referrals. So we have 3 elementary schools and the middle school that have started to pilot that. Suite 360, which you'll learn more about in a minute, is the program that we have, that Red Oak has chosen, that we've started. There was a lot of principal and staff input and research, and Suite 360 is the way that Red Oak ISD decided to go. So it includes weekly lessons to teach behavior, teach guidance, teach social skills, teach all of these really needed components to students in pre-K through 8. So they all receive at least 1 lesson a week. And then pre-K through 12 has intervention lessons. So if students have a particular need or something that they need intervention on, a particular behavior, they can be assigned an intervention lesson on that particular behavior. The district's continuing with counselor character education and guidance lessons. And then part of the preventative behavior framework includes parental resources, a digital library, and a weekly newsletter. And then how we have rolled it out. So we've worked on developing systems and looking at our discipline referrals for data baselines. We established teaching and training. So all campus administrators, counselors, and teachers that use the lessons and interventions were trained on the program. And then Melody and I did the training for the teaching part of that. And Christy Watts, who is over our discipline, did the training for the intervention part to our ISS teachers, DAP, ISS and DAP. I want to make sure I wasn't leaving anybody out. Another part of our framework is a Canvas course. So this Canvas course is for administrators. And so Melody and I realized that we are support. We are not the boots on the ground anymore. Our teachers and principals and everyone on campus that's working so hard, and we just want to be able to support them so they can support the teachers who obviously support our students. And so the Canvas course, which you'll see in a minute, just kind of provides a system overview for the administrators. It includes teaching skills, pacing guides, resources, trainings, requests for class management training. It's anything that we're hoping, so we're still building it out and taking feedback, but it is just, our hope is that it's something that can support the administrators on the campuses so they can best support their campus. They know their campus best. So that's what that is meant to be. And it also includes engagement that the campuses can use for their students and parents. And then we have a part where we set and we monitor across campuses how everything is going. So you should have received this in your packet or paper. This is just the outline. This is a working document of the preventative behavior framework for year 1. And so you can see that it includes the 4 areas of systems, teaching, training, and engagement. And so the 2 biggest pieces that we wanted you to understand and really talk to you about tonight is Suite 360, which is the program that we've started, and then the Canvas course, which is the support for the administrators. And so Melody is going to start in on that.
All right. All right. So Suite 360 is an online resource. And so we wanted to provide teachers and administrators something that was easy because there are lots of things, right? So we wanted them to have something that integrated smoothly. And so Suite 360 integrates through ClassLink. So our kids and our teachers just log in like they would for anything, click a button and it logs them right in. Teachers have a pacing guide. Again, our goal is we want it to be not another thing, but something that's intentional and something that I'm going to go back to easy to use. They're not going to, we want to make sure that it's easy for them. And so we have, each month we're focusing on a different talent as part of the framework. And so we have gone through and we pick the lessons that align to that talent of the month, and those lessons align pre-K through 8. Our other thought to that is that, again, if you have students at multiple campuses, one at the middle school, one at elementary, and you're having we want to encourage table conversations and conversations in the car. A kindergartner can join in on a conversation with the 8th grader about something that they learned. We're just trying to build that and include our parents and our families into those conversations. And so those lessons are pre-assigned when teachers log in. We'll show you what that looks like in just a minute, but when teachers log in, it immediately pulls up the lesson of the week. They click on it. It's a video lesson, but there's pieces where the kids and the teachers provide input into the lesson. So it asks for kids' feedback and teachers' feedback and creates engagement that way. We also built out additional elements. It is a robust program. It includes the intervention side and the student lesson side, but there were some pieces that we wanted to add to it, and so we've created and are constantly adding to those. Again, I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. There's a lesson library, so it allows teachers to do additional lessons should they want to. They can choose, there's a pre-test and a post-test, so we can see how kids do on those lessons, and teachers can choose what they want that passing standard to be. It also comes in multiple languages, so we wanted to make sure we include our EB learners. And so it has that piece as well. It also has the parent resources in multiple languages as well, so that's really neat. We can track by student, teacher, all of those things there. It is, we're going to do it for 3 years. This first year we used Title I funds, but the next 2 years, the Google grant is going to cover that for us. So, again, Suite 360 student lessons are pre-K through 8, but those intervention lessons, which again, like if a student gets sent to the office or there's a behavior that needs to be addressed, those intervention lessons are specifically chosen to address that specific behavior. And that's pre-K through 12 and in DAEP. DAEP is using it as well. So, all right, so now we wanted to show you a sample lesson. Don't worry, you don't have to do the pre-quiz or the post-quiz. This is what the teacher side looks like. There's an introduction always, and then the pre-quiz is here. The lesson is right here. Let me restart it for you. Oh. All right, so the kids, when they do it, they can't scroll forward. Neither can the teachers. Everybody gets to watch the whole thing. There's music. I'm going to leave this playing while I talk through the other pieces because I just want you to see the engagement piece that the kids get to add or choose what they prefer. There is a staff companion guide that talks about ways that teachers can extend if they want to. They can include it in journal assignments, their reading ELAR lessons. How can we extend this and include it in our everyday life at school? So in this one, you get to select your ID picture because you just came to Friendship Academy, so you get to pick sunglasses or smiley face. And then as you go through the lesson in this one, you're going to earn badges. So that's neat for the students as well. This is the teacher companion guide. It's printable. Again, I kind of talked through this already. There's engagement strategies, ways to differentiate our ELL or our EB support, how to continue the conversation. There's a lot of resources, even as far as like books that they can add to cover the same topic. This parent resource section, you can choose multiple languages if you have parents that you know speak a different, not English at home, something else, you can choose that. This is what the parent resource guide looks like. Again, one of the big pieces is that shared vocabulary piece. When we say the word respect or we say the word friend, that sounds like a word that we all know, but that might look different. And so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as what that is. And so activities they can do at home, books they can read at home with their students, all of that's in the Suite 360. So, all right, we're ready to go back. The next thing I'm going to walk you through is coming. There it is. All right, so I'm going to show you the Canvas course. Again, this is a resource for administrators, and it's just a toolkit. Our hope is, like Angela said earlier, our hope is that we are a ever improving, ever changing resource for our administrators, who are a resource for our teachers, who are the front lines for our kids. And so this is a Canvas course that all the administrators were added to. It talks about each one of the 4 areas. When we did research on there's lots of different programs out there. And all of those programs had these 4 things in common. Systems, how are we teaching skills? How are we training our staff? And then how are we creating engagement, both with parents and with students? And so as they click on each one of these, everything links to resources for that specific thing. So one of the things we're working on and we're piloting is those positive classroom office referrals and office referrals. So if a teacher needs an example of what that could look like, an administrator can go in here, click on it, print it, provide it to the teacher. There's an immediate resource that's designed for what we're doing. In the teaching skills section, this is our Suite 360. How are we teaching those skills? We're teaching it in Suite 360. So when we went and did trainings, we know that that's a lot to take in the moment. So we made those trainings available here, both for administrators and teachers. They can click on that. Our pacing guide, which is when are we teaching what lesson, is here. And then this is the intervention resource guide. So like I said before, Suite 360 does have a lot. It's very robust. But there are some pieces that we wanted to make sure that we had available. So administrators can go in here. These are the lessons or the resources that we created for these specific lessons. So attendance in middle school, if they need to go and pull a family resource guide, it's here. They can click on it, print it out, and send it home with the kiddo. So those are all there. For our training, again, it's important that we make sure we're keeping our staff aware and trained and that they feel confident. And so we wanted to make sure that we keep everybody, make sure they all have resources for that. So there are specific course links up here and they can click on each one of those and it takes them directly to an online training. live searches for trainings at Region 10, both in person and online. I'm going to circle back to this. Don't worry, I'm not skipping it. The next section is online module training. So this is a TEA online module training for Teach Like a Champion. And then we are currently still building this out, but we're working on 30-minute Canvas modules for specific things that we're getting feedback on that teachers are wanting more of, administrators are wanting more of. So we're continuing to build that piece out. This piece right here is takes them to a behavior training request. So if an administrator would like additional things with a teacher or a classroom, an administrator or their staff, an administrator can go in here and request coaching or training for their staff or their teachers, choose a specific topic for the training that they need. How do they want it delivered? We can create a Canvas course during their planning time in PLC or after school whole staff training. And then of course we left the lovely other box because there's always something new, right? And so we wanted to make sure we accounted for that. And we're really excited to have already had the privilege of starting to work with several administrators and their teachers in their classrooms, and that has been a joy and a privilege. So we're really excited about that. And then the last piece, last area is engagement. Again, we want to make sure student engagement is so important, but we also want to make sure we're engaging the parents. So we have resources here for both student engagement and parent engagement. If they click on each one of these, it takes them to a link with ideas for that specific thing. Keep going. We'll go back to the parent one so you can see it real quick. Again, each one links to something else. Parent newsletters, how do we create parent engagement in the classroom? Parent info nights, we do parent universities, but it's hard for parents at night. There's a lot going on. And so one of the things that we're doing is we are live streaming those, and then we are taking those live streams and we've created a digital resource library for parents so they can go back and watch when they have time. And so that's on the website, but we also have it linked. And then technology is ever changing. And so we also have on here a quick way for administrators to send parents tutorials on how to keep up with the tech, the latest and greatest tech things that we're doing. So that was a really quick run through on a whole lot. Again, our goal is really just to support. How do we provide what our staff and our students need and our administrators? So we can go back to the presentation. Maybe. Do y'all have any questions?
I just have one. As you're going through the program, I know we're new at it, we're building it. And I know we're trying to get it unified across campuses. And in there, the monitoring, when this is monitored, how often is it monitored?
Yeah, good question. So we go in, our counselors are helping us with this. We go in and look weekly to see, all right, how often was it used? Who used it? Was there, and then why? Do we need to do more training? Was there a piece that was confusing? It's been it's helped guide us in, okay, we need to create this resource to fill this piece.
Okay, that was second question is how often is it used and can you monitor it that, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
we can.
Yeah, it looks like a great program, it's just, if we get it implemented and it's utilized, that's the big portion.
Yeah, implementation numbers are growing every week when we check it.
Well, that's good.
And so if for some reason, because life happens, a lesson is missed, even though their lessons are assigned and pushed out, that lesson doesn't go away. So the next week, the teacher has the opportunity to teach both throughout the week, both of the.
Thank you.
We also have teachers that are using it like as a center. So they're doing the whole group lesson, and then they're also doing it maybe as a part of their center's rotations, which is really fun to see.
Thank you.
I have one question. Is there an evaluation for the teachers over the program? Did it work or did it not work? Or something for the parents on the back end? Did what we sent home, was it useful? Or did we, I want to say, not waste their time, but it wasn't what they were looking for.
So there wasn't a formal evaluation included with the program, but Melody and I have talked about sending, like in the monitoring, sending at mid-year and at the end of the year for administrators. I think it's a great idea for us to send to parents too, a survey just to see how they do feel about it.
Yeah, was it helpful?
Yes.
All right, very good, thanks.
We also have been in classrooms. We can look at it with us, and I can try to teach Angela or Angela teach me, but we really want to see what it looks like in a classroom. And so we have been in classrooms, and while we're there, I'll ask teachers, tell me what you think, the real stuff, not just the, tell me the real thing.
Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I just want to tell you too that I've worked with you when you were counselors and I know your hearts. And I appreciate the district allowing you to go in and support the counselors because I know how those counselors need support daily. And so I just want to let you know that and I think I can speak for the whole board, we appreciate what you do because you've got a tough job. You get those tough situations that come through. And so I appreciate that.
Anybody else? Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. They put a lot of heart and soul and work into that, so we appreciate it so much. Just have a few more things I want to add in the actual district update. We had our fall senior citizens luncheon today and had a great turnout. We had approximately 100 Red Oak senior citizens attend today, and they enjoyed a performance by our amazing high school choir. And we look forward to our next luncheon in spring. So it was truly a great turnout. Congratulations to our Red Oak Hawk football team for being by-district champions. The area round will be played on Saturday, November the 18th at 2 p.m. in Wichita Falls against Amarillo High. Also, congratulations to our Red Oak Middle School choir students who earned all-region choir. We had 52 students audition and were among the top schools with a large number who were named all-region. So that's a huge accomplishment. Good job there, Mr. Walry. You're doing a great job. Also, congratulations to Red Oak Middle School for all region band members. We had 42 students that were selected. That's amazing as well. Red Oak High School students Jose Jontas and Riley Life both signed to the Southern Arkansas University Tech to play baseball at the collegiate level next year. So congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment as well. Red Oak High School cheerleaders had their first competition and took home second in novice crowd performance and fourth in large varsity game day. Red Oak ISD campuses all celebrated the Veterans Day by inviting them to the school and to honor them. There were many different things. There were parades, breakfast at the high school, NJROTC had flag raising ceremonies, just a lot of different activities that was held across the district. So we appreciate the principals really and truly making that effort to honor those amazing men and women. I'd like to remind everyone that on November the 28th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Red Oak High School, we have our inaugural Ellis County Toys for Tots Drive, and it will be live on Fox 4. So I invite everyone to come out and take part in that. It's going to be a great event. We have challenged other Ellis County districts to come as well. We're going to have all kinds of things. Our mascots, drumline, the cheerleaders, Hawkettes will have a lot of things going on. So I encourage everyone to make it out there. Of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there as well. So 5 to 10 p.m. at Red Oak High School on November 28th. And one last thing, cannot go without recognizing congratulations to Dr. Johnston and his staff for receiving the 23-24 Meritorious Budget Award MBA from the Association of School Businesses International. This is a testament, a great testament to their commitment on fiscal management and responsibility and the budgetary policies. On average, in the past, Only 0.0068% of districts receive this award. So it is definitely a prestigious award, and we are so proud of our business office for receiving that.
Are you running out of wall space for all of those certificates, or?
I just want to know what kind of dirt you got on that group. Okay, is that it?
That's it.
There is no one signed up for open forum, so we'll move into our action items. Before you have the consent agenda, is there any item that you would like to remove to have a separate discussion about? If not, entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Ms. Knight. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. We have consideration and approval of addition of qualified brokers to 2023-2024 investment policy. Dr. Johnson.
Good evening, thank you all. As I mentioned last month when we were presenting the annual investment report, we were looking at additional options or additional brokers to be able to help us invest the bond proceeds. There are some additional rules and regulations with bond proceeds. There's something called arbitrage, which means with tax-exempt bonds, you probably get a lower interest rate than a company that goes out and issues bonds. And the IRS says you can't really make, and then if you go and invest those proceeds, you might be able to make more interest. And the IRS says you have to spend that down by a certain time. And there are companies out there that help you manage that. And the one that I've worked with in the past, called PMA Asset Management, does bond management. And we'd like to add them to our investment report, which was on page 39 of the investment report, of the different brokers and investment individuals that we work with. And then they will provide us monthly information on how we're spending down our bond monies and what the investments are. And one of the things in talking with them, they can guarantee certain interest rates, whereas our current investment pools, whatever the market condition is, that's what the interest rate is for that time period. Was there any questions?
Is it just to help us with the bond part of it?
It could, that means the first phase. And I know that they are trying to get a footprint here in the state of Texas to create a pool. And then if that comes to pass, then that might be other options for us to invest our day-to-day funds in.
Do we have any other questions? Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we add PMA Asset Management LLC as a qualified broker.
Second. We have a motion by Ms. Knight, a second by Mr. Sebring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have consideration and approval of order calling bonds for redemption and other matters relating to Red Oak Independent School District Unlimited Tax Refunding Bond Series 2014.
As we've done over the last several years, bonds that were issued in the past, namely in 2012, 2013, and now 2014, you can either refinance them or you can pay them off after 10 years. And so there's the 2004 Series 2014 bonds, which would become callable of next February, and we owe almost $5.9 million. And if we pay those off next February, which is in our budget to do that, then we save over $1 million of interest that we don't have to pay, which will help us pay down, the current $80 million bond and all the other bonds. So the goal is to reduce the debt as much as possible, planning for the future. So I ask the board to approve. And again, what the purpose is, the board approves it tonight, and then our financial advisor will go out and let everybody know, because you have to give them 30 days at least to tell them that the bonds are going to be redeemed. And so that's why we're doing it now, even though they're not going to be redeemed until February.
Do we have any questions?
So that, this bond is a 10-year cycle, right? Is it
Yes,
a 2014 bond?
yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And then I just want to make sure to let people know that by this, we are going to save a million
Yes, sir.
dollars.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of money,
Yes.
you know, that our taxpayers are going to.
I mean, it does two things. It saves $1 million, plus it gets almost $6 million of outstanding debt off the books.
Yes.
This is not the first time we've done it.
I know.
Multiple times, so.
I know, it's just, it's a good thing that we can do it.
Yes,
A good thing to talk about when you do.
it is.
That's why he keeps getting the awards.
Do we have, any more questions? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the border calling bonds for redemption and other matters related to the Red Oak ISD School District Unlimited Tax Refund, or Tax Refunding Bonds Series 2014, as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Knight, a second by Ms. Porter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
We have consideration and approval of resolution of ballot of election for the Ellis Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2024, 2025.
Yes, every other year, each taxing unit within Ellis Appraisal District casts votes for the Board of Directors for the Ellis Appraisal District. There are 10 candidates that you have in your packet that were nominated for 5 positions. Red Oak ISD board members may choose to cast all of their ballots, which is a total of 408, for one candidate, or you can choose to distribute those votes among any number of candidates listed on the ballot. Selection is for 2024. Senate Bill 2 becomes effective 7/1/2024 and requires another election to take place on December 31st of 2024 to appoint 5 directors who will begin serving in January 1st of 2025. So at this time, the board will need to decide how they wish to cast their votes. You can cast them for one candidate, or again, you can split them however you choose between the candidates that you have.
But it has to total 408.
408, that's correct.
That's our total.
I don't know any of the candidates except for Danny McElroy. And I mean, I know that she's a big supporter of Red Oak ISD and she's very involved in keeping things straight. So, I mean, I'm only one, but I definitely want to make sure that we keep her on there.
You have a motion?
Before we make the motion, I know there was a couple on here that, but we can split the vote, right?
That is correct.
Split the
You know,
vote.
between 2. I know Danny is definitely one of them. But, I know there's, Travis Burton on there too. That, I think he could be a good advocate, you know, for us. So if we split the vote, is there any issues there?
He serves on road.
So that's, I'm just saying, he's a good one, he's an advocate for us as well as Danny is, but between the two, that's the two that I would choose. Any other comments?
Well, so before we have this discussion, somebody needs to make a motion on what is on the table, and then we can discuss that motion. And if somebody has a different motion, then we could table that motion and do a different motion. And then vote. If that passes, that's the new motion. If it doesn't pass, it goes back to the original motion.
So I'll make the motion to split the votes between, what is Burton and
Bruton,
McElroy.
Travis Bruton.
Travis Burton and Danny McElroy.
We split it evenly. I mean, how do you just want to split it?
I guess so, just evenly.
Is that your
That
motion?
has to be
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
motion.
make that part of your motion.
Okay, I make the motion that we split evenly the votes for Travis Burton and Danny McElroy.
Okay?
Second.
So we have a motion on Ms. Knight and a second by Ms. Peterson to split evenly the votes between Ms. Danny and Mr. Bruton. 204 apiece. Is there any discussion on that, concerns you want to talk about? Or any other motions? There none, that's the motion. So on the floor, the motion by Ms. Knight to split the vote, 204 between the two candidates. Second by Ms. Peterson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations to our two candidates. And we'll sign that later. We have to sign it. Next, we have the consideration and approval of Goodlaw Stadium track resurfacing. Mr. Freels.
It was exactly December 19th last year that we came with the dreaded Billy Goodloe resurfacing options to look at repair, replace the surface, or do a whole new track. And we're back here again this year for the simple fact we got two options this year because the repairman said, I'm not repairing it anymore. Because it's beyond that. If any of you've walked around down there, you kind of know that. But we do have an option this year to, it's the same price. We've vetted, we went 4 different groups, asked them, we went, and one of them we struck off the list because their references came back somewhat suspect, and we think we have the best group to do this work. And so at this time, we'd like to recommend, because they've given us a warranty on the materials, they were one of the few that would give us a 5-year warranty on the materials. The only thing that they said is, of course, the subsurface, which we know. That's why we put a little bit of contingency funds in there, because if they do remove it and there's some cracks that we know of, we can actually work with them to seal them ourselves, because it's not real difficult. It's just manual labor. And the good thing about these group is they can start immediately, because they want to start before it gets cold in January. Take 4 to 6 weeks to complete, and we can be done for another 5 or 6 years, hopefully. So the recommendation for the administration is we go with Pro Track and Tennis to resurface the track for $228,000 with a budgetary contingent of just 10% at $22,800 for the project. We can do this through a by-board contract.
Do you have any questions?
Just one, when I read through the document, this doesn't include, I guess, the high jump, or?
No, the high jump, we do all that now in the D zone. That's the new part of the new turf. So
Okay.
that, when they first came out here, the reason it was on the other end, remember, and that other, we don't need to redo those. Those are in good enough shape, because the high jump area now has just been redone with the new turf.
Okay, that was just a question I had when I was reading through it. It was kind of,
Yeah, yeah, they can do all of our runways, but our runways aren't in as bad a shape as the track itself is.
okay. Yeah, the track's pretty, to me, that's getting to be a safety hazard.
It's an issue.
Does
We'll
that
just
make-
leave it at that.
Will this make our track big enough for a UIL event?
Well, we do a UI, last year we had to cancel relays because we couldn't. I mean, the track was in such poor shape that we were scared to even try to do it. We had like 3 good lanes, but we can run track meets on it now, like junior, middle school and that sort of thing. 7 lanes, we can run a track meet. It's just not, we're not going to host a district meet or anything like that. We don't have, no, that's not going to happen with 7 lanes.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to award the resurfacing of the track at Billy Goodloe Stadium to Pro Track and Tennis, Inc. for $228,000 and a budgetary contingency of $22,800 for the project through by-board purchasing cooperative contract 641-21.
Second the motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Knight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 7-0.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to thank y'all. I was thinking about joining a senior track team next year, so this is perfect. Consideration and approval of School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, for 2023-2024 school year. Ms. Brown.
Good evening. Texas law requires that each school district have a school health advisory council. And SHAC is a district-created advisory council, which consists of members, mainly the majority need to be parents, community, and also ISD members. Voting members are just the parents and community. The ROISD people are not allowed to vote. SHAC ensures that the community values are reflected in the health education instruction. SHAC's role is to advise the Red Oak ISD decision makers regarding programs related to health knowledge and skills, policies, procedures that impact student health and the health of the school environment. SHAC is required, we meet 4 times a year minimally, and depending on what programs we're discussing. We provide recommendations pertaining to areas of health education, curriculum that are age appropriate, and coordinated school health program, and currently we are using the BN STAR program. Areas for discussion this year will be programs to meet the new requirements for the implementation of fentanyl-related legislation, such as House Bill 3908, which states that we annually have to provide to students in grades 6 through 12 research-based instruction on fentanyl abuse programs and drug poisoning awareness. The needs, it also needs to include suicide prevention, prevention and abuse of addiction to fentanyl, and resources that are available locally and how people can access those resources. And this was passed this summer, and it has to be in effect this school year. So we're going to be bringing in different programs and reviewing that. Also, the second topic we're going to be reviewing this year is our current human growth and development programs. You have before you in your packet a list of people that want to serve. I'm excited to say that. On the SHAC Council for the school year for 23-24. And this list is for your consideration and approval. And I think you'll see there are a couple of elementary schools. They have 2 parents. We haven't had that. So we're excited that we're having interest in the group. Do you have any questions?
Does not. We have a motion?
I move to approve the committee members as presented.
Second.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Sebring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 7-0. And last, we have a consideration and approval of secondary level new course proposals for the 2024-2025 school year. Dr.
So you guys have been able to review some of the courses that we'd like to add to the high school course catalog and the middle school course catalog. But before we get to questions, I just wanted to share kind of the overview of how we get to the courses that we're going to propose for you tonight. So there is a process that we follow when looking at all of the courses for the middle school and the high school. Our process this year began in August. So it was the end of August. It is a quite lengthy process because we really just want to make sure that what we're doing is a benefit to both of our campuses at the secondary level. So it began in August, and it's a long but thoughtful process. Teachers, counselors, administrators, campus administrators, CNI, CTE, fine arts, all of those departments have been a part of the process. They've been able to give input. We've had a lot of collaboration. And so I just wanted you to know what that process looked like before we bring you those actual courses. So with that, do you have any questions? Just know that these are courses that we're proposing to be in the 24-25 course catalog. So with that, do you have any questions on what you have read in that?
Doesn't look.
Okay.
All right. we have a motion?
I move that we approve the new course proposals as presented in order to be in compliance with local and state policy.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Peterson, a second by Ms. Knight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Love the additions.
You.
Okay, that concludes our action items for tonight. The time is 7:55 PM. The board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to multiple Texas government codes as listed in the agenda.